All right. It sounds like we are good to go. Thank you, everybody, for joining us for Esplanade Association's annual meeting for 2025. I'm very excited to have gotten the technology to work. I will not hold anybody past 7 o'clock, but I hope to finish soon enough to leave some time to engage folks with questions and answer. It seemed really fitting to start off with uh, just what is making me smile on the riverfront these days, which is, of course, more sunshine, even on a rainy day like today, and the bright colors of daffodils. But really, I see this as a metaphor for how a lot of service, time, energy, things behind the scenes um, really do yield joyful returns when you least expect it. And, we do need this in this moment. So if anybody reads the Boston Globe, if you follow Sage Stosel's cartoons, I think we were reminded recently on March 28th that even in a moment that may seem complicated, just to be able to enjoy these bright spots can be not only, you know, grounding, but even helpful and even healing. So, with that spirit, I am very excited to spend just a few minutes with you running through this evening some acknowledgments, some key board and staff updates, our 2024 achievements, and some new initiatives to look for, as well as progress on one of our largest projects, Charles Bank, and things that you know are upcoming in 2025. We want to call you to action to join us to go deeper to enjoy these big milestones with us. So without further ado, I do just want to acknowledge that we are so privileged to be able to work in open space, both the landscape of the riverfront as well as on the waters. We know, studying history and talking with our colleagues and neighbors, that the 64 acres that we steward were originally inhabited by the Massachusetts and Wampanoag, Pawtucket, and Nipmuc peoples in what was the tidal Kennebec River before it was called the Charles. And we really do welcome everybody to recognize these lands and waters as part of their ancestral homelands and their ongoing stewardship. I would be remiss to not acknowledge our phenomenal partnerships with so many that make our work possible. Of course, the Esplanade Association is an association in its DNA. We exist working always in partnership, of course, with our friends at the Department of Conservation and Recreation, but with so many city departments, neighborhood associations, foundations, sister nonprofits, small businesses, working groups to really live up to our mission of making life better on the Esplanade for all. So we could not do it without the fellowship of so many. Thank you. And of course, closer to home, it's the board and staff, volunteers, and supporters like you that make our work possible. It's phenomenal to witness all of the generosity of experience and perspective and resources and networks. And it really does inspire my own work day in and day out. So those acknowledgments stated, I enter into some important updates for all following the work of the Esplanade Association and for supporters for the past year. It's important for you to note that our board slate has been updated with nominations from our governance committee. The officer slate remains the same for 2024, 2025, and I couldn't be more grateful for the leadership of our executive committee. Alexi, Emmy, Harvey, and Tom, thank you so much for all that you do. I'm thrilled that we have renewing 3-year terms for a number of board members, Alexi Conine, Gonzague de Montrechard, Bob Hedges, Tom Lewis, and Mary Louise Seidner. We couldn't be more lucky to have your service ongoing. And we're really thrilled to officially announce that Frederick Whitman has joined the board of the Esplanade Association, and he has already hit the ground running in the past few months with us. And it is bittersweet, but we are also so grateful as we bid adieu to two key board members, Casey Baines and Hope Sigmund, who have worked very hard. I hope it hasn't felt like sit-ups as they've been working with the Esplanade Association as board members. But Casey will be rotating off and has been an exceptional member of governance, external relations, as well as helping us as we coordinate connections with younger groups getting involved with Esplanade Association's work. Hope Sidman has been a phenomenal board member, not only on our projects and planning committee, having co-chaired the gala, but also on our strategic planning committee and even on the search committee that brought me to the Esplanade Association. So I really do want to personally thank Casey and Hope for their service to the Esplanade Association as they move to their next chapters. I do also have a special thanks for one more board member who is rotating off, and that is Joan Patton, JD Patton, who the governance and nominating committee and all of the board are thrilled to invite to be a director emerita. And we're thrilled to honor her decade of service to the Esplanade Association on our finance committee there with so many hours of commitment to our organization by making special recognition of Joan at another nonprofit that she loves and has volunteered at, which is the Museum of Fine Arts Boston. So we are thrilled to put forward a bouquet in Joan's honor at the MFA's upcoming Art in Bloom in early May. So please look for that. And Joan, thank you so much for everything that you've done for the Esplanade Association these past many years. And I am just so grateful that our tiny but mighty team is so committed to our work, whether we're rolling up our sleeves to plant mums in front of the hatch each year, or meeting up with neighbors, for example, at Community Boating Inc., for opportunity to also spend time discovering and learning and growing together. The staff has achieved so much in 2024 and also piloted some new initiatives that I'm really excited to highlight. I want to start off with our phenomenal park operations and horticulture team, who not only has done so much with the living infrastructure of the park, but they continue to work with volunteers, with our programming team, to also maintain the built infrastructure of our park, including our benches, removing items that need to be removed from the park and making sure that the park is really looking its best. I love that so much has been planted and more is living in the park than 1 year ago, thanks to our team. And that also we have a new focus with turf care being one that really matters, as the Esplanade Association has restored the Hatchell Oval, is working on the Teddy Ebersol Red Sox fields with the Red Sox Foundation and Hill House, and will continue to maintain new lawns, at least on the Charles Bank campus, and we hope also at Fiedler Field. So that's been a really great new direction for our team. Within programs and partnerships, we've done so much to engage folks through all 4 seasons of programming, from FrostFit in the winter through RiverFit in the summer, and a number of great cultural programs and youth and family programs, and have touched so many people with so many events and so many volunteer engagements through all of these past year. So I'm just blown away by all of the team's impact, and also would like to share some new initiatives that had begun in 2024 that we plan to continue and to build upon. So we initiated park bench chats last year, which are an opportunity to sit down in the park with myself and other staff and share feedback about what you're seeing or questions you may have. And in fact, tomorrow morning, we'll begin again our monthly bench chats. And I'll be there right at 8 a.m. at Dartmouth Street Landing. If you'd like to come and say hello, please bundle up. We also introduced a new series, International Moves and Food. You can see folks dancing with classical Indian dance on the lower left in front of the Hatch Oval. And it was so successful, we plan to continue again with one of our new partners this year, Boston Dance Alliance. On top of that, we initiated interactive surveys in the park, as well as a volunteer ambassador program. You can see our volunteer ambassador, Marie, in the green shirt. Our ambassadors wear green while our staff wear blue. And I encourage you to look for them in the park this season. We're expanding the program, and our 9 ambassadors from last year will be joined by 5 more this season as we continue to grow the program. So that's been phenomenal to see since introduced in 2024. I really want to credit also our back of house team, development, finance, and administration. They have been busy working really hard to make all of our work in the park possible. So we did have some new milestones this year, a new strategic plan focused on operations when we will integrate Charles Bank work into our ongoing mission. And included in that plan was the commitment for a new hire for development and strategic programs colleague. And I'm thrilled that Emma Rose Rainville has joined our team to carry out that work in early 2025. So after finishing that plan in November 2024, we've already hit the ground running on a number of action steps. I'm also so happy with the work of our finance team, really thoughtfully investing our resources to make sure that they grow, and our fantastic development team who has been working so hard with events to maintain our general operating as well as some of our biggest projects yet. So you'll learn more about that next. I also just want to credit our external relations efforts. We work really hard to bring more visibility to the Esplanade, and so that people know that this is their downtown Boston Riverfront State Park. It's a space for everybody to come and enjoy, whether you live within footsteps or many neighborhoods away or many towns away. Or continents away. So we are thrilled to have filmed in late 2024 for an upcoming episode of Somebody Feed Phil. It's our first Netflix special for the organization, and it's due to be coming out this spring. We are constantly updating the signage in the park to keep people abreast of what's happening each season, as well as using things like social media, for example, Instagram, to tell people about concerts, tours, volunteer opportunities, River Fit, and many events in the park. So please do, follow our communications. But also, I'm just very proud that we're getting the word out about such a precious park like the Esplanade. And our projects and planning team was also very busy in 2024. A lot happens behind the scenes before you see a big project take shape in the park. And we do a lot of data gathering and measuring and reporting out. We published the Climate Action Plan report in June of 24. We also published almost 250 pages on a report for shared paths and designing for safety, especially with signage. And you'll see some of those learnings coming out in the park this year. We were also measuring how many people were impacted by a temporary installation, our hatchlings installation in collaboration with the Rose Kennedy Greenway Conservancy, and how many entries or visits come into the park across footbridges where we had 4 people counters tracking visits. And it helped us learn in 2024 between January 1 and December 31st that we had over 3 million entries at just 4 of the 8 entrances into the park, which allows us to estimate or extrapolate that we do have more than 4 million annual visits each year. It's really important data for us to work with to know where to invest in the park, and how things are reaching people in ways that are well-informed and needed. The team has done a lot of regular maintenance and care to increase the access to and safety in the park, whether that's improvements in our playgrounds, both Stoneman Playground and Esplanade Play Space, and or advocating for the addition with the design of another kiosk sign, so there's more information as you enter the park and get oriented, and reducing close calls at one of the entrances to the park, with no parking signage advocated for with DCR to be sure that visibility is clear for people entering and exiting at the Dartmouth Street footbridge. Now, there are some new things that I hope excite folks for projects and planning that really came out in 2024. We piloted a new feature that is returning to the park, and that is the Centennial Fountain at Dartmouth Street Lagoon. And in doing so, we have ended a 10-year absence of this fountain, which was last seen in the lagoon in 2025. We piloted it just last fall in September and October, and are very excited today. We reinstalled the fountain and tested it out for its first full season. It took many months of coordination to get this project realized, whether it was review with our partners at DCR, with Conservation Commission, with vendors, and many different departments to connect an electrical feature with water in a public space. And the project itself, the fountain, is something that is marking 100 years of park stewardship by DCR's predecessor, and that is the Metropolitan District Commission, or MDC. And it will be out in the park about half of the year. It's a seasonal fountain, as we do know the Charles freezes. So you can expect to see the Centennial Fountain out mid-April to mid-October, roughly before the Boston Marathon until after the Head of the Charles each year. And I do want to shout out, we also have another new team member, a new project coordinator, Brenda Hernandez, who was overseeing the installation of the fountain for the spring season today. So we're thrilled for these new additions to the team as well as to the park. And congrats, Brenda, on a successful first installation on the Esplanade. Also new, those people counters that I mentioned that were tracking park visits at 4 different footbridges in the park have been moved to closer to the Charles Bank site. And we're doing that so we can better understand the visitorship in that area before 2026, when we expect our newly constructed campus to open. And so you may have noticed some movement in the park as we will be moving our temporary operations yard from its current location near Charles Bank back over to Dartmouth Street Comfort Station. And we'll be running our operations out of that space to make way for construction to get started in June. I do want to note that our external relations team has also introduced something new, and that is new scrims for this temporary operations center at Dartmouth Street Comfort Station. That will be marking the 24 years of Esplanade Association work, with just some highlights that you can learn about if you're new to our work in the park. What's exciting, here we are in 2025, we are counting down to 2026, which will be our 25th anniversary. And so it's a great moment to look back on the last 24 years at the work of the organization. And you'd be able to, as you're passing in the park, if you choose to visit esplanade.org/EA accomplishments, you'll be able to learn even more about other projects and improvements in the park. So speaking of our temporary relocation, it's a fitting moment to share some key updates on the Charles Bank project. Um, you can always follow the latest information, including our most recent pre-construction meeting. There's a video and a PowerPoint saved at esplanade.org/charlesbank. But it's my pleasure to share a few highlights of the latest information with you, including, for those who are new, just some updates on how we got to this point. Where did this project come from? And we're so close to the finish line. Where did we start? A reminder also that the project itself, which is located across from the MGH campus and between the Charles Red Line T-stop and the Green Line Science Park T-stop, and in footsteps from North Station, is a location that we hope will be accessible to many who already are living or working near the Esplanade, but also who may finally appreciate a year-round destination as a hub or a landing place between so many other wonderful amenities within or nearby the park. This will be a site that can serve the ball fields, the Teddy Ebersols Red Sox fields, and soccer fields, baseball fields, as well as the spray deck and the forthcoming Bronc playground. And we are very nearby so many other activities and historic sites in the area. So we really are eager to be a new landing place for people coming downtown. And this was a vision that is over 23 years old. DCR's predecessor, MDC, had always had in a large plan for the Charles River Basin a vision that this area of at the edge of the Charles River Dam would always be a future site for a welcome center, a visitor center, an orientation space that was multi-purpose or multi-use rather than single use. And this is a site that is replacing the former Joseph Lee pool complex, and that older brick building with a lap pool and a diving pool had closed in the mid-90s. DCR had studied the possibilities for all-season recreation and worked with Marianne Thompson Architects on community input to consider alternatives for the complex. And the site itself, the building was cleared out, the building was razed and removed, the swimming pools covered over in 2019. But that was when Esplanade Association took over the project and began pursuing legislation to be able to lease and build and then operate on the site. And we've continued to advance plans with community meetings in 2023 and 2024 to complete designs for city and state approvals to move ahead. A reminder that this is the current condition. After the swimming pool was removed, it's now a retention pond. I do believe it's full today after today's rains. And otherwise relatively fallow, unprogrammed space awaiting new design and activation. So I'm really excited. This is the final plan and program for the 2-acre space that will also house less than 90 or 9,000 square foot building to welcome people year round with 12 restrooms, and community rooms that are reservable, a cafe, free Wi-Fi, an orienting lobby with an information desk and educational displays, and our staff will be on site to continue to operate our programs year-round, take care of the park year-round, and work on major improvements, repairs, capital projects. So it's a really exciting moment to begin to have reached this milestone, and to get ready to get started on something that has been almost 25 years in the making. So this is a rendering of what has been the approved design, which is in some ways a 21st century update of an old shingle style building, which were originally there on the site back in Frederick Law Olmsted's day, when he initially planned the site for public recreation of all kinds. And it's his drawings that name this part of the Esplanade Charles Bank. So we're very excited to share some aerial views of how open and transparent Marianne Thompson Architects the design of this space is, both on the exterior and the interior. Just quickly share some other views. There's a beautiful breezeway, like a gateway space that's welcoming you or giving you a hug into the park from, for example, if you're coming off of Stura Drive or entering from the Museum of Science or from the West End or Mass General Hospital. And you can pass through this breezeway into then the space that opens up onto the riverfront and is elevated and looks out over the ball fields. So it's almost like passing through and then discovering a new vista of the park that we hope many of you have already known, but can discover anew. And passing through, this is on the second story. This will be one of the only places that people can access an elevated view freely and publicly accessible along the riverfront like this, looking out over some of the recreation and multi-purpose courts areas and flexible plaza, and then out over the ball fields and the river view. So there are spaces where people can gather again all season, indoor, outdoor, and we love the design by Marianne Thompson, connecting outside in and inside out. So what has been really exciting is that as of March of this year, just last month, we reached the milestone of finishing not only all of our design documents and of course, all of our city and state approvals to proceed, but also engaged the contractor Lee Kennedy and are working with a fantastic team, not only Marianne Thompson Architects, but also Tom Gomat Construction, Project Management, and of course our partners at DCR to realize a construction schedule that will really get active in June of 2025 through June of 2026. And I'm very excited to confirm that while construction is happening at Charles Bank, the existing sort of temporary drop-off area and safe pull-off from Stura Drive and the 4 ADA parking spaces and the access to Teddy Ebersol Red Sox fields will be maintained. Lee Kennedy has their own site. If you search myleekennedy.net and you look up Charles Bank, you'll be able to see their interactive pre-construction dashboard with renderings, and you can click on the renderings to move through the space and get a sense of how the construction will impact how you move through the park. Not only will you be able to continue to access the drop-off area, but the promenade along the seawall will also be maintained. And you'll be able to primarily use the park as usual until just at the end of the construction project, when we are also committing outside of our lease area to repave the pathway along the seawall. And we will wait to close off that area for repaving until we have an access point or pathway through the campus site. So it's very exciting to share this information and to get going on this exciting project. I do just want to remind people of why we're doing this. And if you wanted to access the Lee Kennedy dashboard site, you could hold your phone up to the QR code on the screen if you're curious to see and interact with their renderings and their information. But what's really inspiring here is Wall construction will be happening 2025 through mid-26. We're also starting to plan and imagine what the programming partnerships can be. So we know what the facilities will be. We basically know what the hardware is now, and now it's an opportunity to play with the software and think about what could possibly happen beyond the expected in these dynamic outdoor spaces that are always meant to be multi-purpose, as parks should be, where many things can happen in one space. So many ways to use the courts, whether of course that's for play, programmed for tournaments or free play, but for other outdoor activities, whether it's a fashion show or a dance class, or what are the possibilities across seasons on that same surface. And it's also a pleasure to think about other parts of the campus beyond the courts. We will have a range of new lawn spaces, which is why we have interest in attention to turf. And also, spaces that can be for performance. We will have an outdoor stage as well as convening in more relaxed ways or for formal exercise and more. So beyond Charles Bank in 2026, we're planning behind the scenes. There will be some other upcoming activity that you will see in the park in 2025. As I close out, I just want to give you a preview of more to expect until we report again at our annual meeting next year. So this May, next month, you will be able to see a significant improvement to what's become a beloved landmark on the Esplanade. That's Patterned Behavior, the mural by Sylvia Lopez Chavez, that is under the Bowker Overpass, so near Charles Gate. And you can see that we have in the past, back in 2023, restored the murals, and it makes such a significant difference after the wear and tear of 4 seasons of downwash from the overpass. In 2025, just the beginning of this year in winter, you can see that we're due for another restoration. And so we're thrilled to have that scheduled with a team that Sylvia has worked with and really enjoys and trusts. We're also excited to look forward in 2025 after long awaited and many years of considered planning. The completion of construction and the opening of Gronk Playground near the Charles Bank campus and across from Mass General, what had formerly been the Charles Bank Playground. Right now, the current conditions, the prior playground had been removed last fall when construction began. There was a pause over winter for the thaw and for conditions for materials to improve. And now construction is beginning again to be completed this summer. And it will be an exceptionally special, we expect to be a destination playground for many, whether you are a fan of football or otherwise, or pickleball and any other of Gronk's great sports. I think people of all ages will really enjoy coming to visit Gronk Playground, and we can't wait for it to open this summer. Also happening in 2025, Mass Department of Transportation has been working in close dialogue and Esplanade Association with our partners at Charles Gate Alliance and Emerald Necklace Conservancy have been working closely to give input on the forthcoming design development. And MassDOT is expected to reach their 10% design milestone for Charles Gate. So this is at the end of the Esplanade near Kenmore Square. Currently, Charles Gate's connection between the Muddy River and the Charles River at what had been a gate intersection has been buried underground and under ramps and vehicular traffic. And the plan moving ahead to reopen and daylight the Muddy River and reconnect that to the Charles with potential for pedestrians and bicyclists to also be able to build a connection between the Esplanade and the Emerald Necklace like they had been before the 1950s. All of that is just ahead of us. So that design is now developing and underway, which is really phenomenal. This will be a generational impact for the city. And so finally, I'd like to close with some calls to action. I've told you about a lot of great work that our team has done behind the scenes last year. But I do invite you, when you can on your own time, to please feel free to go further and go deeper to learn more about what Esplanade Association has been researching and reporting and is committed to. Esplanade.org/climate action is an easy link to discover our climate action plan and our report, which includes 88 action steps for our organization to take to reduce our carbon footprint and be more climate sensitive as an organization that is stewarding land and waters. As I mentioned, the shared path analysis and Model Cities Trail Design and Safety Report came out later this year, and you can find that at esplanade.org/pathways. It's a really fantastic, deep analysis that will be informing some upcoming work at the end of this year toward pathway safety. If at any point you would like to learn more about Charlesbank on the Esplanade, of course, visit esplanade.org/Charlesbank. You can also visit our site and search CB Booklet to learn more about the development and investment we're making in this amazing gift to the Commonwealth and to Greater Boston at large. And then I'm very excited to share that our annual report for 2024 will be available this week at esplanade.org/publications. And so coming very soon, you will be able to read a little bit more in depth on some of the achievements that I've highlighted this evening. Last, I would just say, please join us in the park for Milestones Ahead. Next Tuesday, we will have the celebration of the Centennial Fountain right at Dartmouth Street Landing on April 15th. We're planning toward the groundbreaking of Charlesbank on May 13th. Please look for further announcements about the groundbreaking as we get closer. And of course, the Moondance Gala, always the third Saturday in September. It will be very exciting this year as we're going and looking back at all of the prior events that have celebrated all of the achievements and the community in the park. And so it will be a very special moment this year, which we expect to be the very last Moondance Gala at Fiedler Field before we move to Charlesbank. So it will be a big milestone, and we hope people do mark their calendars and come join us. And with that, I just want to share deep thanks again for your support of the Esplanade Association and your interest in our work. We really do think that the best way to appreciate the city of Boston and all that is so unique about it. It's often the B-roll of every movie for Boston is the Esplanade in front of the brownstones of Beacon Hill and then our skyscrapers. The best way is to please come out and enjoy the park. Find a space for yourself, enjoy a free program, come visit us at a park bench chat. Consider if you want to get your hands dirty and get that satisfaction of service and green space downtown, consider one of our volunteer programs. We participate in the Charles River Cleanup, which is upcoming April 25th and 26th. So please do come visit us in the park and reach out to us. And we would love to hear from you. info@esplanade.org if you have any questions. With that, I'm going to do my very best to try to turn this back over to sort of Q&A opportunity in the last few minutes we have together. So I'll stop sharing my screen. And if there are any questions about what I've shared for 2024 or things upcoming in 2025, I believe that I can invite attendees. You could raise your hand I can invite you to unmute. And otherwise, also happy to point people to our site to learn more. Right. Hi, Lynn. It's wonderful to have you with us. I tried to ask you to unmute, and we'll see if that worked.
Can you hear me, hon?
I can hear you, Lynn. It's wonderful to hear your voice.
Oh, I was on a long distance call, so it took me a couple minutes to get on, but you know, it was just a few minutes after 6, but it was an outstanding presentation. And I can't wait for the pavilion to be built. And I think Miss Thompson is fantastic. I saw her place up in where's her other place? Not Woburn.
Marianne Thompson designed the Walden Visitor Center.
Walden, yes.
Pond. It's beautiful.
Yes, Michael suggested that I go see it, and I thought it was fabulous. I went with a friend, and I have an art design background, so I really appreciate everything. And I know that this one is you know, if you want to say improved from even the first design, I think it's fantastic. I can't wait for it to get done, but I think you've done a wonderful job. I mean, not to I love Michael, and I think you're carrying everything even further. I can't get over all the projects you're working on. I just think it's fabulous. You know,
thank you so much. Thank you.
And I'm so proud of that. You know, a lot of these things are in the Letterman Park. You know, I think it's wonderful. So,
Lynn, if you don't mind me saying, I just want people to know that Letterman Park is part of the Charles River Esplanade that's named after Dr. Letterman, who had served at Mass General Hospital, who actually, after phenomenal military service during the Vietnam War, just a few days before being due to come back home and be relieved of duty, was killed in the line of service, and is acknowledged in name at the part of the Esplanade where we will be introducing the Charles Bank campus. So we've been very excited that the Teddy Ebersol Red Sox Fields are part of Letterman Park. We've been very excited to think forward on really the acknowledgement of Dr. Letterman moving ahead and interpreting that story in the park.
Well, I really appreciate it because it's been a long time coming. You know, the whole thing started in 2005, I think. But, you know, we had a wonderful committee, and sadly, a lot of people have passed. But I'm very proud to be the chairperson. But I just think you're doing a wonderful job. Of course, I love everybody there. I mean, I love Allison and Jim. You know, they're all wonderful people. I've worked very closely with them. And I think it's just a great group.
Thank you so much.
I plan to be at the gala in September, and I went to the dedication of the Lotta Fountain, you know, so it's just wonderful seeing how it's evolved. And having taught art for almost 20 years, I appreciate all the artistic things you're doing, the creative things.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for calling in long distance, and I'm going to answer a few other questions I have that have been typed in to the meeting. But Lynn, I always love to hear your voice, so I hope you stay with us.
I will, honey. I'll be in touch. Well, no, someone called me long distance, but I'm home here. Okay. Yeah. Terrific job. I'm proud of you.
Okay. Take care. Bye. Okay, I also have some in the question and answer, which is at the bottom of the screen. I have a question from an anonymous attendee who's asked me to talk a little bit more about cleanups in the park, volunteer service. And this person happens to know that they're on Tuesdays and Thursdays in the park, which is fantastic. So if you were to ever want to learn more, you could always go to esplanade.org volunteer. But we have a phenomenal volunteer and sustainability coordinator, Molly Ryan, who welcomes inquiries about groups. They could be a group from a corporate group, say a number of colleagues at work want to come together for a team building exercise, could be individual opportunities to volunteer. And on Tuesday and Thursday mornings during the work week for work groups, we have many ranges of ways that you can get your hands into improving the park. That may be as simple as removing, on a windy day, a very cold day, wind-blown trash coming into the park and making sure it doesn't end up in the river and those microplastics don't end up in the harbor and in the ecosystem. It could be bulb planting, it could be bench painting and repair when we replace boards and hardware. It could be mural. Sometimes we'll have volunteers do touch-ups on our murals. So there are a range of activities you can do in the park. And then the volunteer ambassador program is a way to go deeper beyond a single day in the park or, a morning, a few hours. That's an opportunity to learn more about the park history, get some training with our staff, and commit over a series of about 12 weeks, a number of months, and people can stand longer, assist at events, answer questions, engage folks in surveys, as well as be a point person for many of our volunteer groups. And again, our biggest volunteer day coming up in the park to really kick off the season is always around Earth Day. And that is Park Serve Day with DCR and the Charles River Cleanup with our 4 sister nonprofits, Emerald Necklace Conservancy, the Charles River Conservancy, the Charles River Watershed Association, and the Waltham Land Trust. And over the 79 miles of the Charles River, lots comes down the river and always gets stopped up on the downtown Boston riverfront before it hits the Charles River Dam. So we have a lot to clean up after a long fall and winter season. And then our cleanup season runs from April through mid-November. So there are opportunities to plan ahead and join us in the park. We would love that. I hope that answers the question. And I'm going to also move to Harry Hansen's question. And then Mary Lou, I see you have your hand raised. Harry Hansen had typed a question about basically shared trail or shared path safety between bike riders and delivery scooters, as well as pedestrians walking on pathways, and particularly the Fiedler footbridge. And we have had conversations with DCR that returned some signage after the Fiedler footbridge had been repainted and renovated. They had not returned signage asking people to walk their bikes, especially the Blue Bike station is right near the entry to the park through the Fiedler footbridge. And so that signage has been returned. Thanks to lots of requests and certainly advocacy. And we are doing our best to also track how to remind people, like through our report on model cities, how to remind people when they're in the landscape to look up and pay attention in a shared use space. Or if many people are looking down at their phones, to use some systems like some very simple reminders on the surface of the pathway that may say, look, or slow down to remind people that they're coming to intersections. So please look for some follow-ups to our pathway safety pilots that were started in 2022, as we took a lot of learning from the report that came out right at the end of last year to inform some of the more permanent signage that's being proposed for the park ahead. Let's see, Mary Lou, if you are still here, I'm happy to take your question. And you are unmuted if you would like to chat. Let's see here. last eight. All right. I don't have Mary Lou with us anymore. I do have one other comment, and Harry, I see your typed note that the warnings are gone, the walk signs, from certain parts of the park. And please know that we have a proposal into DCR to follow up on more consistent signage across all of the footbridges, not just Fiedler Field, or excuse me, Fiedler Footbridge. And we know that some of the paint has been faded from the pilot project, and that's the plan to do some repainting in more lasting sort of a thermal paint as well. I just want to thank folks for your comments, and they're very encouraging. I really do appreciate the support and the time and attention for everything that we're doing in the park. It really is in service to you so that more people enjoy the park. Our mission is pretty straightforward, and we do believe in doing our part in trying to make life better through great experience on the Esplanade. So we hope many more people benefit from that. Harry, thank you so much for your positive comments. And again, thank you to many joining this evening. I see lots of familiar names, and we really do appreciate your participation and your attendance. With that, unless I see any other questions in the chat, I might wish you a wonderful evening to get out. And if you're on the East Coast, enjoy the sun as it's going down. And I do hope everybody stays warm this week. Please do come out in the park and enjoy some of the milestone events ahead this season. We can't wait to see you. Okay, take care, everybody.